Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. He's a Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever.
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Okay, right, so hello everybody and welcome to the October edition of the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. So what episode number is this, Ricky?
This is our official year episode.
And this is actually episode 14. We're bonging along here officially, recorded on the 3rd of October 2021 using the power of Skype. And remember, if you're listening here and you like what you hear, it helps if you click on the subscribe button, leave a review, tell your friends, whatever you do, and spread the good word that we exist and that we are the voice of positivity in the Star Wars world. You will not hear us. Well, we might moan about one or two things, but comparatively, we're pretty positive. And also remember that we are in various places on the internet, of which I cannot remember. And this is where Ricky comes in and tells everybody where we are.
We are on MySpace. Wait, no, never mind.
MySpace, Craigslist.
Craigslist.
GeoCities.
GeoCities. I'm still. I have
And
an
don't
Angel
forget the
Fire
AOL message boards.
Yeah, I'm on
That's
AIM.
our email address, Ron, at AOL. Yeah.
You can get our episodes on Livewire. Let me see. Okay, we have if you guys want to contact us online or interact with us, we're on Facebook at PSW Senate. We also have a Facebook group there, Positively Star Wars. If you guys want to join and interact with us, we're all in that. On Twitter, we're at PSW Senate, and on Instagram, PSW Senate Podcast, or you can email us at positivelystarwarssenate@gmail.com. I've been on Twitter. Shout out to Ryan Bullock. He does this nice thing every couple of days where he puts a bunch of different podcasts and retweets the names so people can try to follow. So shout out to him. He's always putting us on that list. So
Excellent.
That's great.
yeah,
Thanks, Ryan.
Round of applause to Ryan, was it?
Ryan Bullock.
Yeah, I forgot his name already. Yeah, but good on him. Good on him. Spreading the word.
Very memorable name, I suppose.
It's a good name. It's a good name. It is a good name. That's right.
I don't think I know any other Ryans.
Yeah, I can't think of any other Ryans I might know.
That's that,
And-
not like no personally, but that's that celebrity one. But I can't remember. Yeah, okay.
Right, this is our anniversary episode, so we've been doing this for a year.
So I think give you guys the memo, but cake and you're supposed to bring your own, by the way. Budget cuts and stuff.
I couldn't find any Jorgen fruit.
So, on this episode, we will primarily, our main focus will be on Star Wars Visions, which is out about a week and a bit ago. But as ever, first of all, we will go around the table and see what everybody's Star Wars news is from the last month. I forgot to say that there are six of us this month. Myself, Ryan. Say hello, Ryan.
I am here.
And we've also got Chris,
Hey there.
Ron,
Hello, fellow senators.
Marie,
Hello.
and Ricky.
Hello.
Very good. So we will go around the table in that usual order, which always leaves me at last because I've probably always got the least to say. But we shall start with Ryan.
Oh, I'm first this time. All right.
You're on.
So this month has just been mostly reading, like usual. I finished the Life Day Treasury book by George Mann. I finished that one. I'm halfway through both of the others because one I take to work and the other one I read before bed. So I'm halfway through Myths and Fables and Dark Legends. And I finally finished, from a certain point of view, Empire Strikes Back. So I finally finished that one, which is one of my favorite series in any of Star Wars books, is those from a certain point of view, because I love anthology stories. And it still feels like they give a ton of backstory for everybody. So, but yeah, finished those, catching up on the comics, watched Visions. I guess I was able to squeeze that in. And I didn't buy anything this month at all for Star Wars. I was looking the other day because Five Below had a ton of great shirts. But, I already have 7 shirts. I only wear 7 shirts. So I was like, I'm good. I don't
One
need
for every day of the week. Very good. I haven't got any Star Wars T-shirts now. I had one, but it had been through the wash 2-3 times. I always get this cheap stuff, and then the transfer stuff just looks like it's been through.
If you tell me you have a lost T-shirt, I'm gonna lose it.
I have not got a lost T-shirt.
Okay.
Okay.
For Christmas.
Yes, and a Blu-ray player.
And a
Please.
Blu-ray player.
Okay, Chris.
Hey there. Yeah, it feels like things were pretty busy for me, Star Wars wise. I did finish Rising Storm, the audiobook. And then all in a row, I've watched Visions, Galaxy of Sounds, and Terrifying Tales, which just came out like 2 days ago. So yeah, that's actually quite a bit.
That's good. That's a lot. In my world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, Ron.
Hello, Senators. Like everyone, Visions, the Galaxy of Sounds. I have not caught up with all those, but I found those to be very, if we get to talk about those, very entertaining, very well cut together. From a Star Wars standpoint, picked up a Top Trumps Death Star tin. Found that on the clearance at one of the stores, and the toy runs and everything. The store shelves are still very, 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 very bare. It's kind of almost like they're gearing up towards wanting to make sure they have product for the Christmas season, because it's not just the Star Wars pegs. It's a lot of different pegs that are empty on a number of store shelves. And then there's a small little toy show that happens in the area once a month, and picked up a Galactic Heroes Dagobah X-Wing for all of $5. So that was quite the nice find here today to add to the play collection. But other than that, yeah, it's been a nice light Star Wars month. It came quick, that's for sure.
God, that seems like a long time ago now, really. Okay, Marie.
Actually, it's been kind of a busy month for me. I started and finished Into the Dark. I've been reading selections from a certain point of view, Empire Strikes Back. I've been going back and listening to other podcasts about the music of Star Wars, specifically the art of the score and the soundtrack show. And I've been wanting to go back and listen to some of the old Star Wars Oxygen podcasts, but I haven't gone back and done that yet. Let me think, what else? Star Wars Visions. I got through a little bit of the Galaxy of Sounds, and I haven't gotten to Terrifying Tales yet, and I meant to do that yesterday, but it was kind of a busy day and forgot about it and all that, but I will probably be watching that this evening.
Okay, excellent. Wow, we're really flying through it this time. We actually get time to talk about other Star Wars.
Yay!
Hey, myself, let me think. Star Wars Visions, obviously. I saw the first Galaxy of Sounds episode, and I finished the Crash Point Tower Audible right near the start of. Well, I did that last time around, actually, but I have actually returned to the Rising Storm Audible. People will be pleased to know. The Miracle of Miracles, I might even have finished it by the next Senate. But what was going to play a little game, as I said to guys elsewhere in the chat, on guessing what chapter I'm on in the Rising Storm. So let me just get.
We do an over/under. What Price is Right rules?
Price is Right rules. Yeah, we're not over.
How does that work?
Oh, you Brit. So the Price is Right. Closest without going over, right? So if you had to guess the price of something, closest one, but you can't go over that price. So.
You can't go over. Oh, I get you. Well, I'm just.
So if you're on chapter, 221, and I guess 222, and I'm closest by one, but I won't count because I'm over. So if somebody guesses 215, they will win.
Let me go on MGM betting and try to see if I can put in on this.
What's the line on it, Ricky?
I have just firing it up here so I can actually see what.
Can a brother get a tip in? How many chapters are in the book? I guess that's we'll let that
like 98.
76 if you don't include the end credits. And
they're really short though, Ron. They're like 2 pages each. Like,
no. But thank you for telling me that, because I'm thinking a book is 20 some chapters. So I'm gonna be guessing into the low teens or something. But yeah, now that I know it's 76 chapters, I'm like,
no, but literally like it's like one little short scene and then next chapter. Like,
wow.
Is it? I have no idea from Audible what it's like.
Yeah. Like they cut to like a set of Jedi, and it's like they have like a 2-sentence conversation, and okay, next chapter.
Wow, interesting.
I like those chapters.
Per chapter, the questioning.
Is that the young readers novel?
This is the regular.
That's a legit book.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that way the teachers, you feel good when you tell the teacher I read 5 chapters last night.
So you will remember that last month I said that before I restarted listening to it, I thought I was somewhere around a third into it, a third of the way. That's just a guesswork, by the way. I'm not saying there was a third. I'm just saying I guessed that was about a third of the way through it.
I think you're on chapter 26.
But now I have actually started it again. I've got through. I'm not at Ryan's pace here, but I've got through a chapter or two, maybe a day. So what we're going to do? Everybody give a number, and then we'll see. We'll go around in our turn, and everybody who's closest. Then, so we'll go back around in the order we just done. So Ryan.
Oh, that's unfair.
No. The new guys go first in Price is Right. So yeah, Ricky and I are last. The new contestants to the line go. You have to guess first. That way we can bet. We can gauge our bets.
It's a union, so since you have the most seniority. Okay, I'll just throw out a guess here, and I'll say 37.
If somebody gets it spot on, is there like a sort of thing?
They get $100.
Oh, all right.
They wait to the end though.
Oh, right. Yeah. You don't want to.
All right. Okay. Chris.
I'm gonna say 52, like a deck of cards. Have no idea why.
Okay, 52. Who was next? Ron.
Well, I want to go last. So
you do remember I'm not a very quick reader.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go Price is Right here and go 1, chapter 1.
Chapter. How does that work?
Well,
you automatically
messed up my entire Price is Right fun. Yeah, so if everybody goes and guesses crazy high numbers, I'll guess 1 thinking they're all over.
There's only 76 around. That's not gonna work.
Well,
and we already
how
know
much of a reader he is.
Like a third of the way through too. So.
Yeah,
so
all right, how about this? Since we're not that kind of show, 69.
69.
No.
Order.
I was going to say 66. That's too high.
I see. I knew that was going to be picked too.
I'm taking a screenshot of where I am in Audible so I can prove that the winner.
I said 20. Right. Or who's next? Marie.
Marie first. Yeah.
Let's see. 27. I'm gonna say.
27. Okay. So Ricky, you're last. So you can vote strategically, ish.
Well, I had said 26, so Marie's trying to one up me. So I'm sticking with 26.
You're sticking with 26.
Wait, she says 27. You're sticking with 26.
I said 26.
Yeah, hang on a minute. That don't work, does it?
You just crossing your fingers that you get it spot on.
Oh, yeah, you might as well pick. Yeah, you might as well pick 1 at that point, Ricky. Price is Right rules or Price is Right logic.
Well, see, now I've taken away yours. So,
I changed mine.
Okay, I'll say 32. How about that?
Is that actually what you're going for? 32 now.
Yeah, 32.
You're knowing him to change his number.
Yeah, 32, because you said you've been doing a chapter a day. So.
32. Okay. Well, that is controversial, actually. The Ricky's changing his number because that's changed his run quite considerably. Because it was Ryan came in very close, I have to say, but he was over. And Marie was going to win it quite easily due to Ricky's
26
misguided guesswork. But obviously now Ricky's changed guesswork. He has come in and he is actually technically the closest in Price's Right timeline, but actually Ryan is technically the closest.
I altered the deal.
I'm on chapter 35. Hey!
Wow.
I gave you that one, just so you know.
Did you skip chapters this time, Stephen?
So Ricky wins Price is Right style. Ryan wins closest to the bullseye sort of style. So you both get to berate me for not making it very far through the.
You both get new Blu-ray players, Stephen. That's the.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I forgot. I was going to record the the Republic theme song that's in this. Anybody who's read it will know what it's like. The chap actually sings it, and it's an awful song. So I have to record it and play it at some point. Maybe the next one I'll get the clip done for you guys. It's like if you've been to Disney World and you heard It's a Small World.
I love Small World. That's what I imagined it was like.
It is exactly like that. That's the way he sings it. Okay, so that's that little competition out the way. I should try and test some other competitions each month, shouldn't I? Try and find something like that.
Next anniversary, Stephen.
Next anniversary.
Yeah, that worked.
Okay. Chapter you're on Rising Storm. Next anniversary.
Well, yeah, I might actually made it to chapter 70 for the next anniversary. I'm actually quite pleased. The only reason why because some of the chapters are really quick, and this one's a bit longer. This chapter, I think. Anyway, I'm halfway through it, so I'm getting there. Okay, so Ricky, quick, your last month.
Oh, it's not going to be quick. I did a lot.
Okay,
so I started playing Squadrons again. I'm actually on the dark side levels now, which are the Empire levels. So it's that game's so hard. I'm not a flying pilot gamer person, but it's Star Wars, so I'm giving it a shot. That, and then also I finished Rising Storm, and then I did do Tempest Runner, the audio. I listened to that right after finishing Rising Storm, so that connected perfectly. It picks up right when that did. I just caught up with the Marvel run, so I know what happens with everything with the Gringer and all that stuff now. I did watch Visions. I watched maybe like a minute of the Sounds of the Galaxy thing, because we've been actually doing our marathon. We were doing Resistance Season 1, and I had to try to map out when to pause The Force Awakens and go back to the Resistance and vice versa. So that was pretty fun to do. We did that yesterday. So we finished watching Force Awakens yesterday. So we are now on to, I think, Season 2, like a bit of that, and then go to watch the whole Last Jedi. And it's kind of hard weaving through because Captain Phasma pops up, and I didn't want her to pop up after she seemingly died. So but yeah, that was pretty fun doing that. And then I did pick up a couple things. I got a Hunter Funko Pop, which I don't collect those, but I got one now. And then also I bought, I had to get a sun shield for my car. So I got the one that has the crew in the Millennium Falcon. So every time I see my car sitting here.
Nice. My wife's escape.
Yeah, so I did that, but the funny thing, I opened my garage door, and then Alec Guinness is staring me in the face now, and it kind of spooked me one time. So, there's a man in my driveway. Like, wait, no, it's Alec Guinness.
I used to have that.
As long as you haven't got a sidearm handy. You're right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been trying to keep up. I think I'm gonna try to do the adventure comics and get caught up with that, but I'm still working on reading Out of the Shadows because I started reading that too, and then I'm working my way with my daughter through Race to Crash Point Tower. So so it's been getting.
Let's get the event.
And Visions.
Visions, yeah. The Adventures.
Another
which one's the Adventures ones? I get confused.
Oh, the Adventures is the one with Zine and all that.
Oh, it is that one. So you haven't mentioned Bucket of Blood. You haven't met Bucket of Blood yet.
Yeah, no, I have.
Is it Bucket of Blood or?
Yeah, he's in Out of the Shadows, and I did meet him in the comics. So because I think I'm up like the issue 3. Yeah.
There's a lot. There also seems to be a lot of cooking in the Adventures comic.
Yeah. And then also another thing I stumbled upon because of Twitter, I follow Drew Struzan on there, and he had tweeted something about a documentary that was made about him. So and I don't know, I think Ryan, I think he watched it. I don't know if Chris had a chance to. But that thing
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I love Drew Struzan and I look forward to watching it. Yeah.
He did so much cool stuff, and I didn't even know the half of it. So and they talked to George Lucas on that, and it was just amazing watching that thing. It was cool. So I got through a lot.
I always pictures. I had no idea that they were paintings.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That astounds me.
That's been my month.
Which reminds me, I haven't seen that. I only watched episode 1 of Sounds of the Galaxy thingy, and they got that clip of the I suppose it's Vader's shuttle taking off from Endor. And I looked at that against all the other stuff, which is all quite modern, and they had that clip in between one of the scenes. I thought, that's a painting behind them.
Yeah,
I never noticed until now that it was a painting. I don't know why.
You can definitely tell the original trilogy stuff when it's all intercut like that. The color, just the modern stuff pops, and the original trilogy stuff is the best.
He's watching
it really stands out when it's.
Yeah.
For some reason, Return of the Jedi, you have. You have that scene, and then you have the one with Lando and Han like standing in front of the Falcon, and that looks, that pops out as a painting too. So I don't know what happened with that movie,
Yeah.
but the backgrounds like really stand out.
There are
as
so
paintings.
many matte paintings in Return of the Jedi, though.
Yeah.
There are so many. I'd say there's easily more than a dozen matte paintings in that film, and most people
That
don't
Falcon
realize.
one really needs some
Yeah.
attention. I mean, it's cool for the era, but yeah, the 4K or the 1080p, the 4K, the high def just really doesn't do that scene.
It's mostly because the color correction on the painting is so bad. It's too bright.
Is that what it is?
And so it doesn't crush the blacks the way that film does. And it has you can see more of the brushstrokes. There's actually 2 matte paintings in that scene. The opening shot is a matte painting, that tilt down in the hangar bay. And when it gets to the bottom of the frame, you can see the brushstrokes on the Falcon's back end in that shot. Yeah. There are quite a few incredible matte paintings in Return of the Jedi, but some of them really show their strokes pretty badly.
The Emperor's arrival, I didn't know until about a year ago, so that was all painted. That's mad.
Correct.
Absolutely crazy. Isn't it until you freeze and then you look at it and go, they're not even full stormtroopers there. They're all half a stormtrooper. You just don't notice it when you're actually in the film.
They did. Disney did clean up some of the contrast in some of these matte paintings in the 4K version that's online, but the Blu-ray versions really show off the matte paintings pretty badly. But yeah, the Emperor hangar bay, the Emperor's entrance hangar bay, they actually improved quite a bit in the 4K version. Yeah. But in the previous versions, you could see the matte lines.
Do they still use paintings in films now?
They usually do digital paintings rather than oil paintings now.
Right.
So people are creating them in Photoshop.
And it's usually painting the actors.
Usually now they use segments of photographs to combine with whatever they're drawing in Photoshop to give a more natural photorealistic look, instead of the brushstrokes that you get with oil paintings.
In 20 years, it's going to be like the Ship of Theseus with the original trilogy. They're just going to keep changing little by little before it's just totally different.
I'd be more impressed.
The beauty of it all is we didn't notice a single brush stroke in '83 or '85 when we bought the VHS, and it took the evolution of the technology and everything and the quality of it all for it to really be noticed, because I don't recall anyone ever remarking about it. Yeah, and you're right. Now we know so much about it; it's easier to look for.
Well, then, like I said, with the 1080p and the 21 whatever, it's easy to see all that stuff now. When you're watching on the VHS in the 80s.
Yeah, my screen. Yeah, my TV screen is phenomenal. Yeah. It all adds to it, but.
Like a 25-inch TV was the max back then.
And some of us ain't got much bigger.
It was not just the size; it was the resolution. I mean, the 4K televisions now have literally 24 times the number of pixels as a television from the 80s. 24 times.
I could only dream such resolution.
Yeah,
I'm still an old one. I'd say 10 years old. We don't get rid of anything here until it's absolutely falling apart. It's like my laptop say here, it's like 10 years old. The hinge is just broken on the side. I'm still not throwing it out until it doesn't start up. Everything stays here until it absolutely blows up in your face. That's why I've still got.
So do you still listen? Do you listen to the Star Wars soundtracks on 8-track or anything?
Yeah, not like that.
All their technology goes skimmed on.
Yes.
Records are coming back.
Get on.
Yeah, but not 8-tracks. That was a terrible technology. I had an 8-track player in my car in high school.
Okay. So, should we move along, as they say, and start thinking about Star Wars Visions, which dropped on the 22nd, Wednesday the 22nd, for some strange reason, midway through the week. Was there a reason?
Disney's doing all releases on a Wednesday now.
Okay.
Yeah, Mandalorian will be on a Wednesday. Everything's going to be on Wednesday.
Has that been announced, confirmed, or we're just going with the most recent things have dropped on the Wednesday versus the Friday?
Yeah, they said they plan to release everything on Wednesdays now. I think once they start
movies, it started.
I never understood the Friday thing. Even when Clone Wars was on Cartoon Network, the new episodes were on Friday. I never watched it because who's home on a Friday usually? You got kid stuff and you got if you're younger, you're going to things, So I'm kind of glad with the Wednesday.
The Loki series may have started it, or maybe the
Yeah.
Disney series, and then they said, "Hey, that worked out well. We'll just do it on Wednesday." So it's like, oh, whatever, I guess.
Well,
Movies, I
for
think,
the
so much.
record, Return of the Jedi in 1983 was released, at least in the United States, on a Wednesday.
I think they all ended up being on a Wednesday afterwards because they started doing the midnight premieres like the day before on Thursday, and then they just went to Thursday
They
morning.
moved
So
it, yeah. I don't remember if Empire was released on a Wednesday, but I know that Return of the Jedi was, and it was always capitalizing on the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend here. Anyway,
they start Memorial Day weekend the Wednesday the week before. So.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we've got 9 episodes to talk.
Yep. Should we do a spoiler alert, Stephen? Do you think?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched
yes.
Absolutely. Spoiler alert. If
you haven't watched Visions,
any
go
of
watch
Star
it.
Wars Visions, turn off your device now.
Or just pause it.
Or just
Download
pause
it.
it, and then watch it, and then press play again. Absolutely. But the first one was called The Duel. It actually says, and this is set in alternative history, 20 years after a war between the Voodoo Jedi Empire and a renegade Jedi sect called the Sith. A lone warrior, known only as Ronin, witnesses a legion of former stormtroopers attempting to besiege a small village. The Ronin fights the leaders of the bandits, a self-declared Dark Lord of the Sith, armed with a heavily modified lightsaber. That's the umbrella, isn't it? While his droid saves the villagers. The Ronin, a former actual Sith, lures her into a trap and kills her. The Ronin, shown to be collecting red kyber crystals from each Sith he has killed, decides to give leaders crystals to the villagers, citing that it can ward off evil.
So was the Sith were they bandits or were they just trying to kill everybody? I don't remember.
They were collecting taxes, so to speak, or whatever. So
okay.
They weren't trying to kill everybody. They wanted them to keep going. Food, anything like any stereotypical, right?
It was like a Seven Samurai kind of thing.
Yeah, you need to commit. They need food, supplies, water, all that sort of stuff. They're going to come in and ask for that stuff.
Yeah, so it's like the protection money thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a protection racket.
That was like the perfect start for the show. Like I thought it set a good tone and kind of got you.
I agree. I thought it was a really good way to start. Great start.
Well, you definitely like the twist, the reveal of what he is or who he is, kind of thing. Whatever was really a nice little piece. The one thing I really found compelling with it, obviously, was that black and white series with the little splashes of color here. So it's that anime style, but it has some. It has. They even went so far as to put in like old film scratches.
Yes.
To make it seem like an old serial or something or whatever, that it was like film based and had scratches on it or whatever. I thought that was a very interesting touch and choice to do it, that it's not a pristine sort of animated feature or whatever. Really kind of like that. And then just the sheer number of recognizable, they really had some brought out a lot of cameos in terms of the number of Star Wars characters, aliens and the like that are in this thing, droids that are in this thing, Probot droid and Doug and oh man, I can't think of them all now.
So I mean, we just got to bring up what happened with the Umbrella lightsaber. I thought that was a pretty cool twist where they kind of changed the lightsaber, and it was almost just like an attachment, like a silencer, but a umbrellanizer, where it wasn't just the big umbrella style. It's just like a refocused all of them.
It was like a giant parasol. It was
way she put it into that.
Jammed through that Transdotion and opened it up. Oh, I wasn't mind.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he threw those limbs, but she sliced him up.
He gave the crystal to the kid, right?
At the
end. And then gave him the attachment as well. Right?
No, he gave the attachment to the shopkeeper.
Oh, okay.
Which was weird because but I guess he's getting the silencer, so yeah, he's getting the umbrellaizer for the next.
Maybe they're going to use it to make
for the next lightsaber wielding person that comes through.
Makes me wonder if there's crystals in every single one of those separate blades, or if it's all just focusing crystals.
Yeah, I don't know. Puts it up. Like you need one to start with, and then you can kind of like putting a flashlight in a kind of thing, and the light just shines everywhere, kind of thing.
Does Maul have 2 kyber crystals in his? Or is it 1?
Yeah, he has 2 because the blades split, like the handle splits at some point. So he can wield it as 2 individual lightsabers, or he can connect it in the middle. So those are 2 blades on his. 2.
He hasn't wielded it as two on screen, has he?
I think that at some point it breaks and he's only using one, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't
So yeah,
into two.
Right.
Okay.
So
All right.
so he's used two in the comics.
No. It splits in half and he uses the one half.
Yeah, it
the
just
movie.
breaks. It just splits half of it. Okay. Yeah, the way you said it, I was wondering if he actually splits it in two and uses two and then joins them back together. Because actually, in the High Republic comics, the main character does do that. So I wasn't sure if Maul also did.
Well, so that's what I'm
Yeah, I
asking.
know
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. How do we have confirmation that he has that it's two basically, that hook in the middle, that he has two crystals?
Because it's split in half and he uses
And then both
the half.
sides work.
Yeah.
Or he just got lucky. It's maybe he just sliced off.
Just because it broke in half and the other side continued to work. Yeah,
wondering
that's
if
why I'm kind of wondering. Do we have confirmation that we've seen him use two?
I don't see
or
how
is
the
it,
blade could work without there being two crystals.
I don't see how he's walking around. So, because he was sliced in half, fell down a shaft. So we're gonna have to figure out something to explain this. That's what.
Maybe the crystal
it would
sliced
make
in half.
it would. Let's see. It would make sense that it needs to be two. Obviously, that's the easier answer because that way he could use it as two. As two, like Ahsoka, as two blades. And if it's one crystal with the two blades going out, does that diminish the power of it? Or now you could have the crystal and do two blades, and it would be, it's still.
I'm gonna have
if it
to
is
watch
one
Clone
crystal,
Wars
it's
to see what
still as
Savage does.
powerful.
Because Savage ended up using the double-sided one. I'm gonna have to watch and see what happens if that ever breaks. So.
No,
I
Interesting.
can't recall it. That's
So-
why I asked, because I don't remember it happening, but it's been a while since the Clone
Yeah.
Wars Maul watches. That I don't recall seeing him ever with two, one in each hand. Anyway,
I don't see how, on a technical level, they could make it work with one crystal in the two halves. Like just in terms of how the crystal would be connected, it would make no sense. If he can still split it, if there's actually a break in between, it doesn't make sense for them to be one.
Yeah, it certainly seems like he has two power cells and crystals pointing the opposite direction.
Right, exactly.
yeah,
That's
from what we know about how a saber's supposed to work, it really stands to reason
Well,
to have two.
my Maul lightsaber takes 4 D batteries, so 2 on each side.
Two on each side. See,
They're right down the middle.
So I thought, for me, I think this was one of the strongest episodes ever.
I agree.
I thought when I saw this, I thought, oh my god, I can't wait to see the rest of them. Obviously, it didn't. I disliked any of them, but they didn't quite have the same. What's the word? I'm not sure. Depth or. And also, I want to say standard because they're all quite different in their own sort of way. But this one really got me into the feel. I thought, I'm really going to. I wasn't sure before. I thought, I'm really going to level this kind of stuff.
Did you think this was more like cinematic?
This is exactly what I was expecting. And then some of the other ones, which we'll get to later, just felt like somebody's fan fiction a bit in times.
Yes.
So I thought that's not what I was thinking. I was expecting something like a surreal take on things. And this really started right off on that. So yeah, for me, it was. And what about what I was thinking it was R2D2 to start off with, but obviously it's not R2D2 because they were told they couldn't use any original.
Well, then they made tea in this one, so you really liked it.
Well, absolutely. That's probably why it started off on a good note for me. So it's really how it should go, isn't it?
We talked about the reveal of him being not a Jedi, or whatever, and I thought it was incredibly well done because they sort of did like a point of view of the camera, like they attached the camera to the hilt as he unsheathed the lightsaber, so to speak, and it kind of comes out away from it, and that was just it was a very stunning visual. I didn't really care for a lightsaber being sheathed, but whatever. It needs to be that type of
it was already
story.
They had this in a couple of them.
It's kind of on inside the sheath, so that you don't have them igniting like we're used to. But the way they animated that reveal was very, very well done. Really, really captured you and let you go. All right, then the words get a little. I guess it has to be in the translation or something, or whatever, because the wording was your what she says something very. I mean, she just emphatically. What am I trying to say? Just matter of factly says, "Oh, your blade is red." It's like, well, thanks, Captain Obvious. We're all seeing that. It was very much a reveal. Don't really need you to state that, but. I think that's a little bit lost in translation for the wording of it.
But I tell you, for me, watching it, I really had to pay attention to the first 6 because I was listening to them in Japanese with the English subtitles. So I actually had to watch it all. I thought, my God, this is tiring. I have to actually watch it. I can't look away and listen in. Then, of course, I realised that you can get the ink just changed to flipping language, you idiot.
I did watch this one in Japanese afterwards, though, so it was pretty cool.
I've done that, and there's definitely something to watching the Japanese with the English dub, because then some of the closed captioning or whatever you want to say is a little different. The wording's a little different. So obviously you get what they're saying, you get what they're going for, but some of it made a little more sense. I don't know if the sense is the right word, but there was something. There's some value in doing exactly that. Doing the Japanese, the translation, exactly. So
the big question here is: do people prefer the umbrella lightsaber or the where the Christenters make up their helicopter lightsabers in Rebels? Which is better? That got a lot of ridicule in Rebels, didn't it? The old helicopter lightsaber spinning.
Well,
which one do I hate more, or at least?
Well, no, not hate, but which one do you think gets more
credibility? See, they took off with the helicopter one. If they floated down, maybe, but they used them for lift to escape and a Joker laugh. So that was tough. The umbrella.
Yeah, that made no sense.
Yeah, it could lift.
You could push yourself off the ground with the force, and then just use that to kind of float.
Yeah, they weren't They weren't force pushing themselves off. It was lift. It was animated as lift. This one's interesting because, like you say, she puts the blade into the umbrella-izer, and then you get all those blades where they all individual. Is there a bunch of crystals in there? I don't think so. Like Ricky was saying, it kind of took somehow it's taking that saber blade and turning it into the 8 different ones that the umbrella-izer was doing. So I think that's a bit more plausible, if that's even possible. I think
I
this
agree.
one. I think I'll tolerate that. Yeah, thank you. There we go. I'll tolerate this one way more than I do the helicopter.
Like in universe, could you make a sheath for a lightsaber out of Beskar? Would that work?
It'd get hot though.
It still heat up.
Yeah.
Get wicked.
But are lightsabers hot?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess they would be.
But what we see when the lightsaber hits the Beskar, we see it sort of starting to
it turns orange.
Spark.
Bygone on the door. Yeah.
But now, so Ricky, it won't work because my problem with the saber and the Beskar is it doesn't slide right down, like it attaches right to it. So if the sheath is made of Beskar, you wouldn't be able to slide the damn thing out.
What are the hilts made out of? Why don't the hilts burn?
That's actually interesting. You say about our lightsabers hot. This is going back to a conversation where we almost had a whole episode talking about lightsabers. Because are they hot? Because if they were a degree of hot, Han could have kept Luke warm with a lightsaber on Hoth. So that makes me think that they're not hot.
Didn't you catch everything on fire whenever you hit it? Everything would just burn.
But they don't give any what's it called, latent heat, is it?
But then they do cauterize. Well, I don't know. Okay, what are we looking at?
They cauterize a wound. It's hot. So I don't know how Han would have kept Luke warm by just sort of keeping the lightsaber close by or something. Yeah.
That's like trying to stave off frostbite with a Bic lighter. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
It's hot, but I don't know that's going to work.
Lighter.
Source.
Okay, some nerd put up a infographic of Maul's lightsaber.
Yes, I found that. Thank you.
Some nerd.
That's cool. We found that right on the spot, which is awesome. So yeah, kudos finding it. Yeah, no, it did have two. It had two
crystals,
primary and secondary.
It's still just
but
for the
fact that it's a
different universe. I would think that there's not 9 crystals inside that umbrella-izer, otherwise that dude, the Ronin would have taken.
You can't turn that umbrella on by itself. You have to have the lightsaber. Yeah.
Yes, it's extension. So yeah.
And I also will say it's bad. It's bad. What's the word? What we're looking for? It's bad luck to light that umbrella inside as well. So, but in an episode that's got umbrellas and tea, I'm going to put this out here. This was my favorite of the lot.
The sabers were sizzling, right, when the kind of steaming when the rain is falling on it.
Yeah.
Whenever rain comes on them, they steam.
Yeah. I like the bad guy in this one. I like the Ronin guy, and that's the guy they're making that comic over the novel, right?
The novel, yeah.
October 15th, I think.
Well, there's a lot there because he's got like 6, I think, red crystals in his Grievous-like collection cloak area. He's definitely got a lot of backstory to be told, and
So
other story that could be told of some sort.
He's either trying to be like the only one, or he's like trying to redeem himself, basically.
I think he redeemed himself. It seems like it's a regret.
Mm.
Because I thought towards the end when it says when he pulls the saber in front of the citizens, they all react, and he's kind of like not really happy with what I've done.
Don't judge me. Yeah.
What was the deal with the waterfall? And was that like a shrine underneath there, a Sith shrine or something?
Yeah, I think it was just a shrine because it happened to be there. Statue was holding a saber. I mean, he put a saber there, but he was obviously knew it was there. I thought their battle was amazing. On the log, like what a callback to Revenge. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very, 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 very well done from an animation. Able to watch that and know what's going on, and see that fight between the two. Very stylized. The end there, I took issue with. There are a number of lightsabers that are still on. Obviously, this is not Star Wars in that sense of it, but there are a number of lightsabers that are still turned on while no one's holding them. The one that was hers that falls to the ground, it's still on. The one that was in the statue is still on. And it's like, I thought they needed to be.
Well, it's just the same as Vader throwing his. He could just use the Force.
Keep it.
And it turns on. I don't recognize that.
Is that how he keeps it on when he throws it?
If you had to keep your thumb on that button,
it's a very difficult move because he has to hold the button down with the Force.
Well, Yoda does it too. I was never keen on Yoda throwing his saber. That's something. I wouldn't think a warrior. Wouldn't think you'd ever lose a handle on your weapon like that.
But he got it back up.
Well, yeah. So obviously he's leading her towards the waterfall and fakes the to get her a bit of a ploy to get to that point, to best her, to catch her off guard. She jumps in there, thinks she's taking him, and he surprises her from behind.
Another lightsaber in his sheath, it seems like, because his lightsaber is on that stand, and then he still stabs her with the one what looks like the back of the sheath. So I don't know. I only watched it like 3 times, and it's only right at the beginning. So I haven't watched it in the past 2 or 3 days. But I thought that was his saber on the stand, and then he still stabs her with almost like the back of the sheath. There's definitely 2 sabers lit at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if one is stand or what.
I'm going to have to watch that again.
It wasn't hers, right? Did he take hers? Because she dropped it. So maybe it was
hers. Yeah, it wasn't hers. She dropped hers.
I'm going to have to watch it again because that was just confusing.
Right. Yeah, there's obviously a third in play because the statue has one. She runs in with his and slices it. The statue falls down with the saber still lit, and she sees it. And then he stabs her with something really. Yeah, he's got like a saber in the sheath. It looks like of some sort because he's got something really crazy long. Or he's got like he puts his sheath back into. Yeah, you have to rewatch that. That was interesting.
He spins it around so you kind of lose track of what it comes out of, and then I think he picks up his.
But it makes sense. Well, he picks up hers too, because I've always wondered that, with all the defeated Jedi there, there's a lot of sabers that are unaccounted for. So yeah, if he's got that many red crystals, how many sabers does he potentially have access? Now he destroys hers in the town and gives up the crystal to the kid. So just so he has his 2. Because if he loses one, he's going to be hard pressed to go to the Walmart and buy another one. He gives the crystals to the boy, or gives a crystal to the kid there, and says it wards off evil. Does it ward off evil in any way, shapes? And wouldn't it? Isn't there something to the crystal's call out to people, or otherwise you hear the crystal in the Force? It seemed a dangerous ploy to leave it there because some Sith person could be hearing it, looking for it, come calling for it, kind of, more so warding off evil than it would attract evil potentially.
Well, the important thing to remember here is that out of all of them, just looking through them in the wiki thing, this is the only one that says it's an alternative history. So there's no parallels here at all in the Star Wars universe. They completely made this one up. All the
okay.
It's probably why the other one's got legs in some respects, because they're not borrowing anything from the existing, not borrowing much history from the same
Not beholden to anything, sure.
Okay, well, we've got 8 more episodes to talk about, folks. So I'm thinking that my time is ticking on here. So we should move on to the next one.
Let's get to the Live Aid episode. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, the next one, which I expect we'll be talking about for ages, is Tatooine Rhapsody. So, in a battle during the Clone Wars, a Jedi Padawan named Jay attempts to escape from the war, only to stumble upon a Hutt named G. G offers taking Jay in if he becomes the lead singer of G's rock band, Star Waver, and Jay accepts. Years later, during the reign of the Galactic Empire, the members of Star Waver are hunted by Boba Fett. Fett eventually captures G and reveals that G's relative, Jabba, wishes to execute him due to G not wanting to be part of the family's crime syndicate. Jay inspires the other members of Star Waver to go to Tatooine and attempt to save G. They manage to convince Jabba to let them play one more song together before G's execution. The song is loved by the executioner's audience, and Jabba ultimately spares G and becomes the band's first sponsor. Unwittingly, of course, but he does. Yeah. Well,
so is Boba a teenager in this one? Like, if it's right after Clone Wars?
Just mini Boba.
Yeah. He would have been younger. Right?
Yeah, he was crazy stylized, wasn't he? He was a Galactic Heroes Boba.
Yeah.
This was weird, but
the Hutt dude, his I don't know if he had nose piercings. I didn't know, or those were his eyes. I couldn't tell.
I was confused by that. It was like a cheek piercing of sort.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, but he has teeth too. That's the other weird. You're talking about the piercing. I'm good. The teeth, the smile was
he could have had veneers.
Yeah, you look at that photo I posted. You can see that he's got a bit of a. It is a nasal pierce in one of the things.
It had a very is it Scott Thompson? No, Scott Thompson. Scott Pilgrim aspect.
Yeah,
if anyone's ever seen that,
that's what I was thinking. The whole
movie, or whatever. Yeah. I enjoyed that part of the sort of battle while they're trying to have a gig and trying to get through the gig.
I'll say this was
I can't imagine. Do we really think that's an influence? Is it Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah.
Is that an influence? Does the Japanese culture know that weird movie?
It was a comic book.
I don't feel like it had much of a Scott Pilgrim feel to it.
Okay, is it just my projecting onto it, so to speak? So I guess that's the question I wanted to ask the studio that made it, or whatever. Does that have any how do you guys know about Scott Pilgrim? Or is it just me pushing that on it?
Brian was saying it was close to like the My Hero Academia anime, right? You said they do like battles in that one and
music festivals. So what I found funny is I remember last month my assumption was, they just kind of have concerts before you pod races and stuff like that. It's just going to be kind of funny about a band moving up in the pod racing acting scene. And it ended up being they're throwing a concert because someone's about to get hung. So, possibly before either people are there for the pod race or there's that many people there just for the execution. So it's like, there's going to be an execution before the pod race today. Neat. Tatooine is awesome. So I thought that was kind of funny as my guess was way off. And they're celebrating executions, with that many people in stadiums.
I've seen,
it's pretty creepy.
After seeing the last episode, when I watched this, I was like, what the beep? This is completely opposite of what I was expecting from all this kind of series. This was fun, but I was kind of like all the way through it, I was thinking, this is nothing like I was expecting. It's like complete opposite. It is just bizarre, really.
And I'm assuming that was purposely done. They want you to get drawn in and then show you this other, type of storytelling.
I imagine
that you would never watch.
But it's not. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong memo. But I was expecting loads of Japanese style stuff, and this just completely was.
Well, this is it. It is anime style.
It's very much anime style.
Yeah.
Is it? It doesn't seem like it to me.
I would say the first one really wasn't the duel really wasn't anime style. That was just the style.
It seemed to me like a Kurosawa film.
Yeah.
In anime form, but the second one was really anime to me. That was super anime to me. I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but it was like everything I've ever seen anime kind of stuff.
I was hoping more from this episode just because, I think I put too much hope on the song. Because, like I said, I'm a big fan of music festivals and animes just because they're fun. And the songs can be catchy. And it was just it seemed really, like regular. You know, it seemed kind of plain. You know, the way it was written.
Was the
Yeah,
song
so I
different
think
in the Japanese dub, or was it? I need to listen to the Japanese dub of this
I
episode.
didn't watch the dub for the Japanese version.
Hmm.
Justice Gordon-Levitt, I thought he did great. I thought his character was cool. You know, it was a fun episode. I'll say that, but I put a lot of faith in, like, I want this to be a catchy Star Wars song. And I'm like, okay, that was like, and the characters were drawn with the childish look. So, I mean, I think it had more of that younger look that it was going for it. And did anybody else notice that he used his lightsaber for the microphone at the end? So he changed it. He used microphone. I watched that one this morning. But yeah, he used it. Seems dangerous to me. Hopefully he removed the crystal or battery or something.
Well,
I don't know.
I thought it broke. I thought at the beginning or whatever he does something. That's how he ended up with the.
Yeah,
I thought it broke.
I mean,
Happened at the beginning.
what's the first thing that happens when you break a flashlight? You kind of give it a few taps and hope that it works. So
and you look at it. You look down the shaft.
yeah, the galaxy's most powerful weapon. Then looks at it. So. But yeah, I thought, again, it was neat. I'm not harping on that as a bad thing, but I thought it was neat. He knew it was broken. He's moving on. Does a band. So I kind of ranked that one. I ranked that one low in my kind of rankings.
I
Still
thought,
good.
I thought he was gonna like try to bust that dude out like with his lightsaber, and he fixed it, and they were gonna try to bust out the guy and save him, but they just used the power of music, to survive.
Power of friendship.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. That was like a nice little, don't use, it's really Jedi-esque. You don't use, physical violence. You try to find another solution, So, and they did. So, I thought that was pretty cool.
Again, it's one of those that I feel like could fit in canon, and it really doesn't change anything. I mean, I don't think there's anything crazy about that episode where it's like, I don't think that fits in canon.
They definitely wrote this with that in mind. Like, okay, let's have this fit in there and not disturb anything, because it really doesn't disturb anything.
No, yeah, I don't think so at all either.
Except for the Boba Fett age thing, which I think Ron mentioned, and that's
I think it's just supposed to be
seems a little odd.
He definitely seems like a kid.
He's definitely stylized a kid, but yeah, Ricky's the one that pointed up. If this is supposed to be right after Clone, how old, where would, but does that fit in what we know of
I mean,
Fett,
he was dancing
Boba Fett
and everything. Does that work?
He was jamming out at the concert, so.
Yeah, there is a time jump because I mean he's got to learn to sing and they all play, so I mean they got to meet everybody. But I think he's just stylized to kind of look a little bit younger, so I don't expect him to be.
But Boba Fett had Temuera Morrison's voice, which is implying older Boba Fett. So that where would it fit in the timeline then?
Maybe that the lead singer just ages really slow.
Maybe it is Star Wars and there are different rules.
I was trying to find the lyrics to the song because they're actually
so you can sing them. Okay.
They're actually quite corny.
Well, it's no lapty neck.
No, I can't find. Nobody's typed them up anywhere. I'm just here Googling trying to find somebody who's wrote down the lyrics, but nobody has.
I'm assuming these guys all die because then they get replaced with with the Cantina band.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, don't lose yourself and sing now, everybody. Hey, we move your body.
Yeah.
We just be strumming, telling you we love it.
I'm not going to play.
We all about it. Yeah, it doesn't. You are okay.
Yeah.
Reading the words. Hey, say.
I'm doing the Johnny Cash version of the song.
Hey, free yourself.
Have you guys ever played that? It was a Nintendo DS game. I think it was called Rhythm Heaven. It reminds me of those songs. Like the songs don't make much sense in English, but I think it's a translation thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a translation thing.
Because it was the songs were just like bizarre.
Yeah, I'll have to watch the subtitle. It's either that or it was just kind of written and it, just happened to not totally be a piece
the lyrics and the thing.
Yeah, it didn't put a lot of time, energy into it.
No, it's like, let's go all the way, go into space.
By the way, Hot Topic has Star Waver t-shirts on sale, so.
I put some...
get a t-shirt. Wait,
who has those on sale?
Hot Topic. I saw them on the website. They had Star Waver. They have the whole band.
Get one. I live right across the street from Hot Topics. I should
They
go
did a
get
nice. They did a nice nod to the gigging touring band that would have their a logo and a van that I put some screenshots in the chat that their ship that they go taking off on has their logo of some sort and has if anybody can translate the Arabesh, I'm pretty sure that's saying Star Waver.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Neat little touch that they added to it.
It definitely says Star Waver.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we need to move on. Episode 3 was The Twins. In the aftermath of the Emperor's defeat, the remnants of the Imperial military begin the construction of 2 conjoined Star Destroyers that house a large super laser, I want to put that in quotes, laser, capable of destroying planets. Using Sith alchemy, they were able to create 2 Force-sensitive biological twins named Kerry and Am, who they then train in the dark side of the Force. The twins eventually become leaders of the Remnant and plan to use their super weapon to destroy the New Republic. However, Kerry goes rogue on the day the weapon is supposed to be fired due to him having a vision of the future involving his sister's death. He also steals the large Kyber crystal that powers the super weapon. Am confronts Kerry outside the Star Destroyers in outer space, with no base helmet or anything, and they duel. During the battle, the crystal is split in half and Am uses a piece to power a metal exoskeleton. I can't remember enough of this. Using his X-Wing and the power of the hyperspace, Kerry is able to destroy Am's silver off the crystal and super laser. He crash lands on Tatooine and vows to rescue his sister from the dark side. I say, actually, a couple of these actually ended in a cliffhanger, and there's one of them.
So before Chris tears this apart, I want to say I really enjoyed this episode. It's not my top. I think it's fourth. I rate this one fifth, which is still really good. But when I remember last month, I said I'm looking for some real crazy lightsaber stuff, and this totally got it. Like at the very end, when he puts the crystal in his saber and the thing just explodes into this huge beam that we can't even see the end of. And then he spins upside down and he cuts through a Star Destroyer with a giant lightsaber beam. I was laughing hysterically just out of pure wackiness and enjoyment. I did not take this one seriously. I did not place it in my canon group. I just placed it in my let's go crazy in anime group. And it really was. She put one in her chest. They have giant 100-foot long lightsaber. It was great.
It was like
very
super
enjoyable.
mega Star Wars kind of thing, like it was just like you said, it's just as crazy as you can go. And they had the lightsabers on their feet, and that's crazy.
Oh yeah, she had heels.
Yeah, and
heel. That was great.
It felt a little too
yeah, and
fancy to me.
I know that Ryan and I have already chatted about this a few times, but I thought this episode was terrible. I hated it so much. I despised it. I was ready to give up on the entire Visions series once I saw this one. I hated it so much. I just felt like it was not what I was looking for at all, and I was relieved that the next few episodes got way better. But yeah, the wackiness that Ryan loves about it, not my jam at all.
But wait, the takeaway is the scene where he ignites this crazy long lightsaber blade and it slices the Star Destroyer or whatever. You mentioned nothing to the fact that he's on the nose of an X-Wing flying
outside,
through space at speed of some velocity.
And the name of his droid is our duo, which I thought was really dopey also.
You fail to mention that part of it. Yeah,
there was
one
nothing
that,
about this that I liked. Nothing.
I don't even remember seeing the end of this one. I watched all these late at night, or my first viewing of these is late at night, and this was one of the ones where I obviously zapped out because I just don't even remember the ending of this one. I'm sort of refreshing or whatever. Because if I would have seen this, I would have been in the same boat of just like, okay, this is a little.
It felt like someone making fun of Star Wars to me. It felt like someone taking Star Wars ideas and making a parody, making a joke.
The conjoined Star Destroyers just really you just build a whole new shit. But now to get from a positive standpoint of not picking on it in that sense or whatever, they had their fun with it in that anime style of crazy over the top to what somebody was enjoying of what they were going for.
If you had like a little kid make a Star Wars story and they would just do this. And that's what made it fun for me to watch because it's like, okay, it's like really pure imagination and you're over the top, crank it to 12.
That's why
let it go. Why I don't like kids.
Thank you, Marie.
You mentioned our duo. I don't know if anybody noticed B2NO or something like that. Whatever the droid's name was, the protocol droid. Every one of
Toby?
those digits. No, not Toby. But
Oh,
no,
in this
Oh
one.
yeah,
'cause-
she has
okay,
she has
okay.
a C-3PO
Right.
type droid. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
but
right,
if
right.
you
protocol
notice
droid.
every one of the digits, I think it was B2 like NO or something, but every one of those digits is one off from C3PO.
C-3PO.
So
Uh,
Okay.
grown.
More lack of imagination.
it's every one of them is the next number or digit in order for C3PO. So I was like, oh, that's a neat little tie-in thing.
Well, and to be serious about it, obviously that's what they're going for here. This is a Luke Leia sort of dark side, not interpretation, but just a story from a different perspective, that sort of thing. So yeah, they're having their fun with the R duo and the C-3PO +1 designation.
So this is
and
supposed to be
everything. So, yeah.
post-Empire because they're fighting against the New Republic. So this is like your episode 7.
Yeah, this ain't supposed to be canon.
But everybody that wants to have episode 7 redone, this is what you would get.
I just thought this was just. I mean, yeah, as Ryan says, if you take it as just somebody having a bit
just
of
having
fun
fun.
and that kind of stuff, yeah, it ticks those boxes. I just found it. I also found the story just seemed holes and odds. It's like he's in one, she's in one, so she's in one Star Wars story, the other one's in the other Star Wars story, and she's all ramping up and stuff, and I really hope my brother's on the side. Then looks over, and the brother's not there. Suddenly, that's like it just seemed odd.
I had more of a problem with like the animation and voice acting. That's why I ranked it kind of low. But yeah, they definitely cut through a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Even the Hayward was all of 1 second. So to give their flashback story. So
Yeah,
I mean,
the idea was
short.
okay. I think in theory it was okay. I think it would have been quite interesting to have that kind of. Well, we already had trends before, but sorry, dark side trends sort of stuff. It would have been quite interesting. It just they sped it along quick so they get to the crazy badass fighting on top of a.
Yeah.
Lightsaber.
Science based.
Anime anyway.
Was her name Car or Kare?
Kare.
Kare. She had I need a tip in. Her mask is remnant of some, with the real pointy sides, whatever. It's some sort of alien, but or some movie that I can't picture the alien in. Maybe it was the Bill Paxton movie, the Independence Day. What is her mask? Is that what it's reminiscent of or reminding me of? That kind of alien creature or something? What was that really pointy?
I kind of felt like it felt familiar too, but it was almost like a Wolverine mask with the ears on the side, but then a big pointy head in the back. Almost like, but that's more of comics, and a Reed Richards has a very similar mask, but without the earpieces. So he has a very long, elongated, alien-like mask.
Is that what?
Oh, and the other ridiculousness of this is they're fighting in space with no helmets on in space, and then once Kara gets defeated, Bizarro C-3PO has a helmet on in space to come and rescue her. I busted up. My wife is like, "Why is the droid wearing a helmet?" And I busted out laughing.
I thought that was hilarious.
I'm frantically searching for this. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, the droid had a helmet on.
The droid had a helmet on. Okay.
Which was like,
Yeah,
and it got me thinking, like, were the twins wearing helmets inside the ship, and then once they got out of the ship, they were fine?
Yes, that's exactly.
And then when the droid went outside the ship, he had to put a helmet on. So it was like reverse oxygen, maybe. I don't know. But it was just like this whole thing was just like a dream that you would have of Star Wars,
Like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Chalk it up to just wild adventure. I didn't take this one too. Like I said, it's number 5 on my list. But it made me bust out laughing with some of the craziness of it, and I was like, okay, that was just neat.
Want
and
to have fun watching Star Wars, just throw this on. It'll make you laugh.
Yeah, it was wild. It's like having a dream on Robitussin or something.
The droid truly has a. Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, I definitely did not make it to the end of this one. I do not remember seeing that at all.
Great, isn't it?
Thankfully,
it's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying.
I think
I
we
just
can
had a chuck.
definitely get ourselves moved on to that next episode 4 here.
Yes.
I'm watching the end of episode 3 here to see what the heck transpired.
Yep. So episode 4 was The Finished Bride. Years after the Great Jedi Purge, a fallen Jedi named F is drawn to a remote planet by an explorer named Falco, or Falcro, as I keep wanting to try. Explains that bandit raiders have reprogrammed old separatist battle droids and are holding the Finnish hostage. The Finnish chief's daughter Haru and her fiancé Isu intend to surrender to the bandits as collateral the following morning. while Haru's sister Saku wants to fight the bandits. The next morning, the bandits feel they have captured Saku and attempt to execute her, but F and Falco intervene and kill the bandits. F then departs the planet. Well, that's quite simple as a synopsis.
I don't know. As beautiful as this episode was, like, it felt the least Star Wars to me out of all of them. Like, it was just kind of.
Oh, that's
like,
interesting.
yeah,
That's
I
very
mean, you have the Jedi just sitting there and they're not trying to help. I'm like, it was. I don't know. It was kind of off for me, but I still loved it. It was still good. But
First to the twins because the Village Bride one kind of bothered me a lot.
In what way?
So, really only one way. After we had our discussion and you ranked it pretty high on your list, and I rank it relatively
high,
low.
but it was okay.
and everybody did online. I kept seeing people on Twitter claim, say it was one of the best ones of the whole.
It's one of their favorites, but I got it after my rewatch. I did bump it up a couple spots to number 7. So, but the music was fantastic. The animation was fantastic. I really loved it, but I just cannot get past the fact that a grandfather was going to let his granddaughter sacrifice himself. Like, it's ridiculous. Every movie in history is always like, the grandfather is going to be like, we're going to take your daughter. And it's like, no, take me. The elder is always willing to sacrifice himself. And it just made me hate the whole village and the grandfather because he's like, he's being picked for sacrifice.
Yeah,
the
granddaughter, I was with the sister the whole time.
Like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, you can take her. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And it's like, it's just a gullible bride. I mean, the story was beautiful. I thought the relationship, when the soon-to-be husband said a bride shouldn't get her feet dirty, it was wonderful. Yeah, the music was fun. It was beautiful. But that's just that one point drove me bonkers, where it's like, you cannot have a grandfather, an elder, that's like, yeah, take my granddaughter. I only have like 5 years to live anyway. Take my
yeah, that's fair.
Bonkers.
That's fair.
Yeah.
To me, what drove the story was the relationship between the two sisters. That was more interesting to me. But yeah, I can see that being a problem in the story, right?
Yeah, everything else was amazing. Like I said, I went back and I bit, and that's when I was able to notice the story, and it left me wanting more.
I believe the twin story more than this one. Honestly,
that's interesting because I don't.
Yeah, no.
And apparently, Falco, or whatever the master's name is, he wears an explosive helmet on his head. He throws it, it shoots into it looked like a YT freighter. I don't know what model, but it certainly
it looked like a Falcon, right. The ramp was identical, right.
Like Falcon.
I did love seeing the battle droids again and hearing Matthew Wood do the voices. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. That was funny.
Yeah, I like anytime I see battle droids.
I'm starting to enjoy them. I used to not like them before Clone Wars. Now I'm just kind of taking them as like a gag character. So I gave it a little chuckle in this episode.
I only started liking the battle droids in Aftermath when you have Bones being an altered battle droid and he's super funny. So that's the only time I started to like them.
I've always liked the battle droids. I always thought they were comic.
Watcher.
Oh, Chris, if you enjoyed the Lego Star Wars thing you were watching, you should try watching Freemaker Adventures because they have a
I love those. Yes, okay. I watched those like a year or so ago. Yeah, I really did enjoy those too. Yeah.
Those are fun.
Roger
yeah,
is hilarious.
They're fun.
That's one of the missing characters. Yeah. Watcher.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I did enjoy this. I actually enjoyed all of them, but like, yeah, this one was pretty fun to watch too. But like, yeah, like I said, the Jedi just sitting there letting things happen, I was kind of bothered. So I was kind of happy. I was really happy at the end when the one stood up and said, "Fucking do something."
The Jedi letting that happen because it's part of the culture. You don't want them to interfere in the culture, type thing. Well, I guess they were kind of taking over the city. Yeah, no, that was weird. I guess I was kind of confused when the mountain collapsed too.
Was this the one when she undid her heel? Was this the one? Right? And she did the speed burst thing. Was that this episode?
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, right. Which I was kind of confused.
Remember.
Oh, maybe I couldn't remember where. I don't see the other.
I did love that Padawan character. She was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like her. I want to know more about the backstory. But I was confused when the bride and the groom were talking to, which we assume is some force thing. They just call it not the force, nature or whatever. And then all these mountains collapsed behind them, and I was like, wait, is this the planet showing a past, or did all these mountains really collapse and then no one's thinking no big deal? I don't know. That was confusing too.
I thought it was a sort of force. I need to watch it again, but I thought it was some sort of force vision that like the planet showing them something.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. I kind of felt that too, but then nobody mentions it whatsoever. So I was like, well, what was that? So it was a little confusing in that point, and that's probably one of the reasons why I ranked it kind of low, because I was like, it's pretty unclear what's happening here. I don't know if a giant monster was going to pop up, and then they're just like, oh, that's just usual. That mountain disappeared. I'll walk you back down the mountain. Okay.
That just disappeared. That was that was
different.
Okie dokie, folks. So episode 5 was The Ninth Jedi, which probably, actually, look at this one, what we've got now, probably might be my second favourite, perhaps.
That's what I read.
It's my favorite, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to say it's right up there with the
Yeah.
first one, yeah. Many generations after the Jedi Order became almost extinct, Margrave Duro, the Jedi ruler of a planet High Islan, invites 7 Jedi to his aerial temple in order to receive lightsabers, whose design have been lost in time. A Jedi named Ethan arrives at the temple and meets the other 6 Jedi. They are then greeted by Duro's droid, who presents the first lightsaber to Ethan and promises that the others will arrive soon. On the planet's surface, the sabersmith, La, I'll just say, finishes constructing the other 7 lightsabers, including one for his teenage Force-sensitive daughter, La Kara. Suddenly, hunters working for the Sith arrive and capture Zima, and Kira escapes with the lightsabers. Kira finds transportation to the temple and sends the lightsabers to the other 6 Jedi, who reveal themselves actually to be Sith members, wishing to assassinate Juro. As the Sith close in around Ethan and Kara, Juro's droid reveals himself actually to be Juro in disguise, and he helps them defeat the Sith after an intense battle. Alongside one member of the Sith, Homin, revealed to have been a Jedi and friend of Jorah's who was brainwashed by the Sith's darkness instead of killed like his comrades. That's actually a long brackets there anyway. Aside from one member of the Sith, Homin, Kira, Ethan join ranks and Jorah's new Jedi Order and set off on a quest to unite all the lost Jedi and find Zima, who is now being held on the Sith-occupied planet. Another cliffhanger, in a sense.
Yes, that was
my favorite part of this one was the lightsabers getting stronger as your force sensitivity went up. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just thought that the story in this one was so interesting and complex and a little bit busy for 20 minutes, but they packed a lot of story in that time, and they got a lot of interesting twists across. It is interesting, too, though, that the one element that struck my ears a little bit weird was the name Ethan. And it's funny because in Star Wars, we have a history of some really common Jewish names. Leia is a Jewish name. Ezra is a Jewish name. Kanan is a Jewish name. But Ethan is a Jewish name, and it stuck out to me as sounding not Star Wars to me, and I don't know why. It sounded a little too modern to me, like 20th century kind of. Yeah.
Well, everything's kind of like a biblical name in Star Wars, like Luke.
Right. So I understand why they use it, but it did ring funny to my ears, and I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing with this episode was how they flipped the script, so to speak, as you're watching it and you don't know who's what. That first time in or whatever, that the Margrave seems sort of bad guy looking ish in design and everything, and all the people there look like they're wannabe Jedi, so to speak, or whatever. And then once the reveal happens as to who's good, who's bad, and what side's what, whatever, that was a really interesting juxtaposition of playing on our perceptions, expectations, what we think we know, and how things might work, or whatever. Because I first see that guy, I'm like, I don't know, that guy seems like he's trying to draw everybody there, is a bad guy trying to draw everybody there into a trap, so to speak, or whatever. And then when they do the blade reveal, they obviously had a really nice line where the bladesmith's talking about, I tempered the crystals to reveal a true color of whoever's using it, kind of thing, or whatever. And obviously you get that then when everybody ignites their saber and you see them all being red. That was from a Star Wars storytelling standpoint or whatever, that was a very cool twist, or a very, very neat thing to showcase and put in front of us. And then likewise, the one dude at the end, his saber goes from red to purple, like he's torn. They talk him out of fighting down the kid that showed up there or whatever, and so he was influenced by the other Darksiders, whatever. Yeah, this one had they obviously were given a wide berth. I think we learned that this was one of the ones that was like to be 2 separate stories and got combined into the one story, and they got a little bit more rope to play with in terms of the length of the story to be able to tell. But
I didn't know that.
They crammed a lot into this one short, so to speak, and I think did it very, very well. Like a lot of them, it just ends. It just.
Does this one tie into that manga that's going to come out? The manga?
Maybe.
No,
Edge.
It could. Very well.
Edge.
They got to go rescue rescue her father, or the swordsmith. There's could be some continuation of this story in this timeline or this universe. But yeah, this one is very well done.
Yeah,
it just doesn't have the.
Okay.
The other thing about this episode, and I think it's probably true, it should be sort of my thought at the end after we collapse them all, but this one had a soundtrack that just, it very much was the oxygen of Star Wars, because you really didn't, I mean, if you go back and listen to it, you don't notice it, but it's there in terms of helping to build the suspense and the energy and to paint a picture of the scene. That this one had a really robust soundtrack, I thought, that really appreciated. And I think a number of them did, going back and sort of listening to them in that sense, that they put some effort into creating the soundtrack for the musical riffs and notes or whatever. They didn't use anything Williamsy, but there were some things that sort of Williams-esque in this one, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice twist with the lightsabers, a good story, fantastic animation. It was like my number 2 for sure. I couldn't find any problems with it, and it left you wanting more. It was just a really good story overall.
Oh, that speeder chase through the woods, very obviously reminiscent of Jedi, but yeah, or Return of the Jedi, but yeah, that was for animation. It was hard enough to do in camera or whatever, but doing that in animation, I thought it was incredibly well done.
It's a story like this that makes me wonder that if they do a season 2, if any of the episodes of season 2 will be follow-ups to any episodes in this one. Like if they'll, even if it's not canon officially, if they'll continue some of these stories, because I think that some of them do have the potential for that, and this was one of them. I'd say this, and obviously the dual Ronin one have potentials to continue on, and so I kind of wonder and hope that we see more of these characters.
That would be fun, a fun thing to do, to sort of the next visions, like you say, a season 2, a couple of them will tie into season 1 like that, and then the other ones are all new, and maybe some of those then have the ability to dovetail into a season 3, that the ones from season 1 would sort of get wrapped up or otherwise end, maybe something could continue on to a season 3, but they don't have to write them to that sense. Yeah, that would be a fun way to have these visions. But this vision things has been going, obviously it got probably delayed in COVID and everything, was built during all that, but it took them a long time from the idea of it until it's, how long does it take to animate these things in their way, that season 2 could be a ways off, I would think, right?
I thought they said they've been working on this for years.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was years too.
Yeah, I mean, that's Star Wars. That's the initial idea from approaching them, flying all over the country, world, and then develop.
World.
Yeah, and
Literally.
it's
and then having to sort of green light or okay the various stories and the like, whatever that might. Now that they have a handle on how to do it or what they're looking for, whatever, they might that process could be perhaps streamlined. But yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, now they have the characters already like drawn out, and
a neat part of the globalization shrinking process that is the internet and the connectivity, to be able to do something like this, like I say, to be all over the world and collaborate in such a manner to get this in front of us like they did. Appreciate all those efforts for sure.
Right.
Imagine getting a bunch of different people from different locations to do a Star Wars thing.
If only there was technology.
Yeah, I've never heard of that happening.
Okay, guys, moving on. Episode 6, T0B1, or Toby. Shortly after the Great Jedi Purge, a droid named Toby lives on the desert planet with his armless creator, Professor Mataka, and dreams of becoming a Jedi Knight. One day, Mataka tells him in order to become a Jedi, he must first find a kyber crystal so that he can forge a lightsaber. Toby scours the planet but finds nothing. He defies Mataka's orders to never enter the basement, discovers a starship, and accidentally sends a signal that alerts a Sith Inquisitor to their presence. Mataka reveals himself to be a former Jedi and hides both Toby and the old lightsaber hilt. When Toby finds a hiding spot, he discovers that the Inquisitor has ransacked Mataka's lab and killed him. Toby continues his research and successfully terraforms the planet, but he is confronted by the Inquisitor. Upon fixing Mataka's lightsaber, Toby was revealed to be powered by a kyber crystal and designed by Mataka to be able to wield the Force. An ignited lightsaber kills the Inquisitor in a duel. He then departs the planet and explores the galaxy and upholds Mataka's legacy.
This one gave me total Pinocchio vibes. You know?
Oh yeah, this is Pinocchio in a galaxy far, far away.
Never
And
go in the basement.
I like that
the
aspect.
first place to go, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Never go in the basement. Tells him every day.
Had he
never
only
go in the
listened
Yeah.
to the guy, he could have just did his job, and then he wouldn't have died.
Pinocchio meets Astro Boy, right?
Yeah, I kept saying similarities with his.
I don't know Astro Boy.
So yeah,
I
actually, it's a bit.
Look
It's
at
a
that.
bit.
Now, you just brought it up. It's Astro
But-
Boy. I was like, this seems familiar somehow, and I can't pinpoint it.
Even the shape of his head.
Astro-
Yeah, this is a cool one. I mean, I did. I don't know why they keep using Inquisitors and all these though, but like, yeah, no, there was a.
Well, they need a bad guy, and that's a known bad guy thing that they can get
that's a
away
ready-made
with.
bad guy right there.
Yeah, ready-made.
I would just make Darth Vader. If I
You
did.
can't kill him, so you can't have him kill him. So
You can do whatever you want.
have the Inquisitors. They can be. You can have as many of them as you want, and yeah, everybody can dispatch them accordingly. This was fun for what it was. It's animation style, very unique. And again, from what it was, or from the studio, from what it was, I think it probably hit real home for the cute little droids bouncing around and sort of emoting smiles or happiness in their actions and everything. Yeah, I think this was fun anime.
This one kind of grew on me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at first, but it did grow on me. I mean, I'm not super fond of the Pinocchio vibe, but I can deal with it. It was just that one thing of like, looks really familiar and I can't pinpoint it, and I can't remember who mentioned that it was Astro Boy, but you're right.
Yeah, it was cute. I had it ranked number 4 on my list. It had a great battle at the end. And anytime an anime character levels up for the final battle, I always lose my mind over that. So when his little robot friend joins him and he turns into like Tron Bot.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah,
He flies.
Tron Bot, exactly.
It was just really cool. I could have done without the squishy feet in the final battle. It was fine during the regular show, but when you're getting serious in the final battle, I kind of wish they would have got rid of the as he's running around. Yeah, but it brings up an interesting question. He's an android, but he uses the Force. So he calls his lightsaber using the Force. So it kind of makes me wonder, I don't know. It just makes me wonder, I suppose.
I had the same sort of thing. It's like, wait, all living things surrounds us, binds us. It's like, but he's a droid, so that's not really that doesn't. So yeah,
It's artificial intelligence, a living thing. I mean,
yeah, he's powered by a kyber crystal,
kyber crystal.
and a kyber crystal's a living thing.
This goes back to something that was in the very first movie, which is posing droids as actual beings. I mean, one of the first things that C-3PO says in the first movie is, we seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life. And, the whole idea is that droids are people too. And the fact that this droid is wielding the Force, so to speak, I felt actually was a nice little exploration, whether you buy into it or not. It was a nice idea.
Programming that AI into that, yes, but the Force is all living things. That has a
But
no.
C-3PO says it's our lot in life.
Darth Vader was more machine than man.
Right.
He had no arms.
He's still living thing. He's still able. But from a standpoint of having some fun to tell a story, it was a fun story.
There's also when he's the professor, you see him as a boy, so it almost makes you wonder. It's like, was this formerly his Padawan, and then like maybe he's got a human brain or something, and then it calls the line.
Oh god,
Grievous uses if he's just
like
a brain
Grievous.
and lung.
But Grievous didn't use the Force.
Yeah, but did Grievous? Yeah, Ricky brings up a good point. Do we see Grievous use the Force?
No, he just knew to use like.
No,
that.
he's
Right?
Did
we ever see him? Did we ever see him force anything?
Yeah, but Grievous was still a living creature. Even though he was
but
mostly mechanical, he still was. He started out as an organic being. His eyes and his organs are still like from a real being, and he's just being kept alive. Geo, that's another whole category, right?
It begs the question: if you're Force sensitive, how much of your body can you get rid of and still be Force sensitive? Obviously, Vader lost a lot, and if you just take Vader's brain and put it in a jar, could he still move things? I mean, you can't use light.
Doesn't Yoda say the Force surrounds us, binds us? It's in this, that, and the other. Doesn't he say, and the rocks?
Yeah.
Between the
Right.
tree and the rock. Everything is it's
Connected
everything.
to
It's
it.
not just things that specifically we
So maybe-
call life.
How about this? And then maybe Qui-Gon explains or talks about it something in those later chapters or whatever. There's the cosmic force and the living force. So maybe the TOB1 could be tied to the cosmic force in some fashion. That if it's
Sure.
between the trees and the rocks, because it ain't the living force. He's a
Rocks aren't
droid.
living things, are they?
Yeah. Oh.
Still makes me wonder if this is something, because he was a boy in the image. But again, it's a Pinocchio callback. So,
Right,
and
right.
I had no idea he was arms. I had no idea that the master had no
Oh, yeah.
arms.
Huh.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, he had sleeves but no arms.
What?
Yeah.
He had sleeves but no hands.
Was he a
Oh,
Trandoshan?
okay.
Geppetto had no. You're saying Geppetto had
Yeah.
no arms?
He had no hands. He had sleeves that hung down, but he had no hands.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Inquisitor says you're armless master. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
armless.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Yep.
thought he didn't have any weapons. I think.
But I thought the other with the one we talked about with the princess had the Knights of Knee.
The Knights of Knee. Yeah, Anakin is a Knight of Knee, isn't he? If you think
It's
about
just
it.
a flesh wound.
Tis but a flesh wound.
Just was a scratch.
Yeah, a cute one. I enjoy it. The Japanese voice was
So-
the one who does the Japanese voice of Goku. So I love watching that one in dub because it's Goku's voice. And I think it's great.
So is TOB1, if he's armless, is TOB1 I guess all those droids, he had all those droids in his, didn't even notice that in this episode, or in that short. I don't think I've watched that one many times. That did all the work for him, that even, if he didn't have arms. So the Inquisitor actually named or brought that up and said that out loud, that you're armless master. Interesting.
That's the only reason I called it, is because he said that. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Okay, folks. Moving on. Yep. Episode 7, The Elder. Centuries after the death of Darth Bane and the initial extinction of the Sith, Tajan and his Padawan Dan are sent to explore the Outer Rim when Tajan senses a disturbance in the Force. They land on an isolated planet and arrive at a remote village where they learn of a mysterious elder man who hiked onto the mountaintop. Dan follows the elder's trail, meets the man, reveals himself to be a former Sith who left the Order before it fell apart. The elder wounds Dan. Well, I thought he killed him initially, and Tajin arrives to fight the elder. Tajin narrowly manages to kill the elder, who turns into a rocky sediment and destroys his ship before he dies. As they leave the village upon Dan's recovery, Tajin tells Dan that being a Jedi means being kind-hearted, so they do not end up like the elder. Oh, as a moral of the story, that's nice too, because I missed that the first time around. Okay, what do we think?
This one I had marked as my favorite.
Oh, I would have it back, definitely.
Very
Jedi.
interesting.
Yes, I loved and adored absolutely everything about this. I thought it fit 100% in canon. I thought it was just the essence of, Star Wars, just the way that Tajin the Master was. David Harbour's voice was hypnotizing to me. I just loved his Jedi voice, where he's dark and mysterious and he keeps all deep and stuff. I loved it. I thought he made a great, mysterious. It kind of like Misfits and Riddles. He kind of speaks like like Qui-Gon. He speaks a lot like Qui-Gon.
It's very
Everything.
Master Jedi, Master Padawan. That was the vibe. That's what you loved. Yeah, that's what made this one fun.
Fits with no questions asked within. It left me wanting more because he had a ship. They didn't have to show the ship exploding. They made a point to be like, the ship is exploding. There's more to this mystery. And it's like, oh my God. But the battle was amazing. How the Padawan wants to take him on. The Padawan craves adventure, and that's always something they have to learn. He goes about by himself, and then Tajin is like, run. That classic thing.
Yeah.
Even in Morpheus, where he tells Neo to run, and Neo turns and faces him. In this one, Dan, American Dan, is struck down.
That's not a Jewish name?
Daniel is another Jewish name, yeah.
Yeah, it is, Daniel.
Oh, it is? That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so I thought this was beautiful. And then the Master comes up, redeems him. He's got the green lightsaber. It was perfect in every way. I loved this episode.
Plus, there's the lesson aspect of the you can have the power, but ultimately time will consume even the all powerful. That he was only able to best the elder because he had time on his hand, or had time as an ally. That had he fought him in his prime, the outcome might have been different. So yeah, I think that's why this one probably resonated so much with you and me as well, is because it was very very Star Warsy in that master apprentice, that master Padawan, that lessons to be learned, things to be taught, and control and run and not seek adventure and be mindful of the situations you get yourself into, and all of that was very well done, coupled with the fact that the dude's ship was a very cool design. That was a very I definitely want to see that one in plastic in some way, shape, or form.
I'm actually seen it once. I thought this was wonderful, and I especially loved the animation of the Elder's face. I thought it looked beautiful, but I'm going to take an opposite stance than Ryan on one minor aspect of this, and that is David Harbour. I love David Harbour as an actor. I think he's fantastic, but I actually thought that his performance in this episode was terrible.
I can understand.
He sounded like he was on heroin or morphine. He sounded like he came in at 6 a.m. and he's a night person, and he was not awake when he was reading his lines, and he sounded just so sedate that I wanted to just shake him and say, "Wake up, wake up, wake up."
See, and that added to like the age of the master, though. That's kind of what I pegged it down to.
It didn't sound old. It sounded just droopy.
Well, weary.
To me.
It was dry. It was very monotone and very.
And, I was just disappointed in David Harbour for, taking that direction. And I know that Ryan likes it, and probably a bunch of you like it too, but that was the one thing that I was disappointed about, especially since I am a fan of David Harbour.
I might have liked it because it was just a little bit weird. It wasn't a character speaking in his normal voice. He had that very Qui-Gon essence where he spoke low and deep, and everything he said meant something. But I totally get it. I totally understand it. I'm not faulting that one at all. But I can understand how his voice can't be monotone. He's the quiet master, and Dan is the, eccentric Padawan.
The buoyant.
Liking him, it's
he's not a very good Padawan.
You're waiting a little bit because you knew who the voice was, and you were expecting a little bit more from. I had no idea.
No, actually, I was watching it.
No idea,
after the fact.
I was watching it, and I hated the voice so much that I looked it up on IMDb.
I had to see who it was,
and
then you're like, then you're really even more.
What?
It
David
adds
Harbour?
to the. You should have done so much better. Okay,
but just like the singing the singing episode, we were all like, "Oh my gosh, this guy can't sing!" Like when we were watching.
And I thought his voice was great. I thought the song was terrible.
I had no idea.
But I liked
it. No, the song was terrible. His voice wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all like, But no, I didn't even know that was David Harbour in this one.
Me neither, until I Googled it, because I have to know who that voice is. And I'm like, oh, good for him. So
there were a lot of really significant cameos in these 9 episodes from American and British actors. Yeah, it was satisfying.
You throw at this point in time here in 2021 in the age demographic, if you throw the opportunity to do something Star Warsy to just about any actor, aren't they going to jump on it?
Yeah,
because everybody, it's whether you're an Uber fan talking about it on a Sunday morning like us, or just anybody's going to want their piece of being in some aspect of the universe, and voiceover is incredibly easy to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think would be easy, so long as they don't do it for flashing. They don't need to. It's Star Wars. You don't need to get Kanye. You don't need to get somebody that's just some voice or some name just to draw attention to get that demographic. Just get names or get people that work for the character or something. And if they happen to be a Gordon Levitt, famous person, that's great and all. But I don't need a name just to draw attention to it.
Especially since you're not seeing the actor's face. A lot of celebrity actors can have a level of anonymity by doing a voice part. And, George Takei was in, I think, the last episode in Visions. But it's not the first time that George Takei has done a voice for Star Wars. He did a bunch of voices for Clone Wars, too.
Yeah, and you don't really recognize that it's him. He's like doing a voice. Whereas if they do, I'm going to draw a blank. Who's the guy that does more cowbell? If it was
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, if it's him, you're gonna know it's him. That's what I mean. We can't have that person. I can't have that person being a voice. Just because his voice is his cadence and everything would be too much. Oh, I know, who that is, kind of thing, whatever. But
like if you use Sylvester Stallone's voice for a character.
Right.
Yeah. A droid, maybe. Yeah, so this one was interesting. As the Elder tries to force lightning, and he doesn't. He puts the hilt in his chest and then ignites it. It was a very, 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 very interesting new move of a death knell kill, so to speak.
That was great.
Because you can
Yeah.
get past their saber. Because if you were to move sideways, you would clash sabers. Well, if you turn it off, you just move your hand sideways and then turn it right back on. It's just such an artistic style that I thought was beautiful, where it paused for that split second.
Yeah,
And then lit.
There's a beat right in there. Yep.
It was great. It's really nice.
Wait, doesn't Anakin do that at one point? He ignites his lightsaber when it has.
Kylo Ren does it in Last Jedi.
Oh, he does that.
She throws it.
Ray
to him,
tosses the saber to him, and then he.
Oh, he does that
ignites
to
it.
Han. Yeah, in Force Awakens.
No, he pushes.
Oh
it.
yeah.
He doesn't
Rise of
put it to his.
Skywalker.
He doesn't put it to his chest and then turn it on. He pushes it in.
I just
I
want
don't
to.
think
No,
it's
Ray
like
Ray does it to
like
the
this.
part behind her, but Ray also does it to Kylo in Rise of Skywalker. Remember, she holds it to his stomach and lights. Yeah, great episode.
Okay, right. Next episode was Lop and Ochi, episode 8. During the reign of the Empire, a rabbit-like alien slave named Lop escapes her captors on the planet Tau, or Tu, and is discovered by the planet's clan leader and the daughter Ochi, the latter of whom convinces the former to adopt her as his daughter. 7 years later, the Empire has occupied the planet and is exploiting it for its natural resources. Yasaburi wants to drive the Empire off the planet, while Ochi wants to cooperate with the Empire. After failing to convince Yashabushi to join her, Ochi enlists in the Imperial Navy despite Lop's protests. With Ochi gone, Yasaburi passes down the family treasure, an ancient lightsaber, given to their ancestor and passed down through the generations, to the Force-sensitive Lop, and departs to confront Ochi. Ochi blinds Yasaburi in a fight, but Lop arrives and injures Ochi, who is forced to flee. Lop then vows to return Ochi home. Cliffhanger. The one with the rabbit.
I was expecting this one to be a lot more like wholesome Studio Ghibli kind of thing, and it was so intense.
It was.
Ocho was so mad the whole episode and screaming. I'm like, this is not what I expected from this episode.
Yeah, I in that respect, I thought that it was a much better episode than I was expecting it to be. I enjoyed it way more, and it was darker and much more intense than I was expecting. I figured with a rabbit as a main character, it would get all kind of cutesy and Care Bearish, but it was very satisfying to me, and a great ending.
See, and I wanted it to be all cutesy and Care Bear. I was expecting that. I wanted a nice little cute Star Wars story, and yeah,
it's not
This one was not cute. Definitely, it was.
I surprisingly find this one. I guess because of the length, this one had was given a big long leash as well, being one of the long ones. Whatever the story
this one
on
did
this
run
one,
on a little bit, yeah.
The story in this one had a lot to it. That I find this one. I don't know that it's my top. I haven't really ranked them, but this one really resonated with me. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I was waiting for Chim Chim and Spritel to show up. The dad in this had I just couldn't get over it. I was just waiting for him to yell at the monkey at some point in time.
I don't know who that is at all.
Yeah, it's a very dated reference for where's my 70s kids like me. It's a Speed Racer.
I'm a 70s kid, but I don't know that one at all. Yeah.
That dad didn't ring a bell of the in Speed Racer and always.
I've never seen Speed Racer.
Oh,
I don't know anything about it.
All right, so you got to go look at it. This one was interesting. This one had the use of Dank Ferric. So, as much as all the other ones had I got a bad feeling about this one. This one brought in a more modern bit of terminology in it. I found it interesting. The droid that was flying around Lop, once they get she had a neck, and they'll blow you up type of collar type of thing or whatever, right? That she ran away as an Imperial worker or something like that.
Yeah.
Once she gets once she gets taken in by the family, then the droid that's been running around with her this whole time decides to cut it off of her neck.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like.
It's like, well, why didn't you help her out? Help brother out a little sooner. Yeah. Do that a little sooner. But the transition of the daughter from, having daughters, it was a little, maybe that's why this rings true to me. Just, the going against the father's wishes, or the father's trying to tell this is the way, and she's like, no, this is the way, and going against it. There was that carried some weight and was, I think, well done in the storyline, and her cutting off her braids, and just it's tropey type of stuff. It's formulaic, but it was a good formula in the sense for this story and where she's going. And the transit. Obviously, there's a 7 years later transition, but from her cherub likeness to her teenage likeness to her imperial persona of that character, yeah, she's got some great character models as they progress through this story. That this was yet another one that was some great eye candy in all of this, as well as a good story to be told.
This one left me wanting more, honestly.
Yeah.
I wanted to see much more of this story, how it continued, how like Lop goes up against her sister, maybe. I don't know, but this one really left me wanting more.
Yeah, in a good way, though, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I'd want it to be one of those in season 2 that has a follow-up episode. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, I think they all.
Well, the Elder could have a prequel. That'd be interesting in terms of a follow-up and continuation. Like we're talking about a continuation for this one or something, but that Elder episode could have a prequel aspect to it, to where the Elder what the Elder was like in his prime or something. That could be fun.
That would too. That would be an interesting thing to see.
He was yeah, very cute episode. I liked the character. I thought it was great. Very good. This one too.
Very, very a mix. This one's tough. Which one is it? Is it more Star Wars than it is anime or Japanese culture, or is it more Japanese culture than it is Star Wars? This one seemed to have enough peanut butter and enough chocolate mixed together ratio to really just make it
dad rebelling against the Empire. That felt really Star Wars to me. It reminded me like of Rebels a lot, and in that kind of aspect where you have like regular people, let's do this, let's do that, and let's revolt against them. Especially watching Resistance now, it's kind of the same kind of theme. So I like that aspect of it.
I like that aspect a lot too. That was like one of those things that really rang true to me. That like this whole people that have like everyday lives just trying to go along to get along until they can't, and
dealing with the impact of the Empire on their lives. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how they can twist your young ones to go against you.
To go against the family, all you've been raised and everything you've been taught or whatever, and you're completely brainwashed, kind of thing, whatever. Yeah. Like again, having two daughters, maybe that's why this rings true so much, that there's those outside influences. You do so much to raise them. You do so much to I don't want to say impart your ways on them, but just there are other things that are molding and shaping them into the human beings that they're going to be. They're going to be their own person, and ultimately that's what you want for them. But sometimes some of the decisions that are made or things that are said are have some difficulty processing from a dad standpoint.
Yeah, they have their own experiences, and that kind of speaks to that.
That shapes them. Yeah.
That shapes them too. You're not thinking of the fact that those outside experiences may shape them more than what you're trying to impart.
Right, and you were shaped much in the same way, so you have to let that happen. And so that may be why this one resonated so much with me of a story told as well as it was. I'd love to know. I'd love to have a Japanese influence on a Senate in terms of how this one, because of its Star Wars mix and its Japanese culture mix, how this one resonates with some of the culture, to see what they would have to say about it. I really think this would
very limited for them. Japanese culture, so I can't really speak to that. But I'm really interested. I was really interested too. That's one of those aspects that I wanted to see, was like how much of Japanese culture really reflects on this. And you can see it in some of the stories, like The Village Bride. You can kind of see it in that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that one. Huge.
This one for sure. But I think it would be a good idea to see if we can pull in somebody who could explain some of this to us. Not explain so much, or like kind of shed more light on that aspect of things.
This episode also had the element of the found family that is in so much of other Star Wars elements too, like the idea of an adopted child.
Yes.
And that this adopted child was given just as much weight in the family as the biologically related one. And so there's a lot of that connects back to the Star Wars stories, the films, as well as like something like Rebels.
I've had both a daughter and a rabbit, so I was surprised which one saved the dad.
This is your favorite episode. Like I said, not my first one, the Emperor and the cup of tea.
Well, it was making me realize how, with the six of us, because I know Tony isn't with us today, but with the six of us, we are an even split between folks that are parents and folks that are not. So that's kind of interesting to me.
Oh, yeah. And also, this chap had the most positive reaction to losing his other eye. It's like, oh, I appear to have lost my second eye. Thing. I thought that's amazing. That's probably the most positive reaction to losing your vision that I've ever heard of.
They can deceive you. Don't trust them.
Yeah.
It had a good like the sequel trilogy line where the daughter is like, that saber belongs to me. That's very much Kylo, where he's
Sure.
yelling at Rey, it belongs to
Yeah.
me. And I was like, oh, it's nice. I don't know if it's really a callback because, I mean, everything is a story and everything else, but it definitely felt like it too. So that line is definitely related. So I thought that was a good thing too.
There's
It's
something
always an
to
emotion.
there's something to the storyline of entitlement. Well, you're not necessarily entitled to it. You have to earn it. Sure, it belongs to you, but it's the family saber or whatever she says, whatever. But you didn't, you didn't earn it like I did. She wasn't gloating over it, and nobody else was, whatever. But yeah, that belongs to me, kinda, but not so much, because while you're entitled to it from a handed down, you also have to earn it. You also have to be worthy of it, I guess, in some capacity. Was this the longest one? I'm trying to look at the length. This is the second longest. Okay, that's why it helped too, because I think it's this next one. The last one just kind of some of them just kind of end.
Surprisingly, this one didn't like hop along like as quick as
very good. Yes.
You've been sitting on that since this dropped.
Yeah, you got to drop a couple carrots here and there.
Okay, so the final one, episode 9.
Well done, Ricky.
Akakira.
Anakin.
Anakin.
I just keep calling it Anakin.
Prior to the initial extinction of the Sith, a Jedi named Tsubaki, who has been suffering from visions of unidentified individuals dying in front of him, reunites with his old love, Misa, a princess who had been overthrown by her dark side wielding aunt Masago, and who reminded me of Captain Phasma. With the aid of guides, Tsubaki and Misa make their way to the royal palace. Masago captures her Tsubaki's friends and overpowers him, then attempts to convince him to join her as her apprentice. When Tsubaki refuses, Masago's masked henchmen attack him. Tsubaki kills them, but also accidentally kills Misa, dressed in her uniform, just as he had foreseen. Completely broken, he agrees to join Masago, forming a dyad to resurrect Misa, and departs. The end.
This one, I don't know if it was the setting or what, like the whole, because they were like in a courtyard kind of thing. It felt so much to me more like Japanese than the other ones did. Like just the whole setting, like it felt like I was watching some kind of a movie. Like it was. I really did like this one, even if it was kind of like slow a little bit. But yeah.
And the two peasants are really a callback to the two peasants in Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress, which were
they're not a callback. They are a direct.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get. I haven't seen much of the Hidden Fortress, and it's been a long time. But my goodness, that seems.
It's exactly.
I mean, they're not a callback.
Which were the basis for the droids
or anything. Yeah. And that's great for those. What I really appreciated, while a lot of us that have been around it a long time know that, I've heard of. To any new fans that might be getting into this to whatever, that hear this for the first time, and they could then see that story or find out that influence and go find Hidden Fortress and see how these guys call back or derive, and all that. Because even I think Hidden Fortress, aren't the two guys protecting, doing exactly this, traveling with a princess and keeping her safe or something like that? So this is Hidden Fortress retold and animated and stuff, which is great, which is fine because it needs to be, so that people get that influence on George, because it had that influence on him.
Yeah.
Such an influence that we get this and we get to talk about it. So I really liked this episode because of that, because of what they did. And I'm glad they saved it for last. That we got all those other ones and the fun, crazy, big giant lightsaber and on flying on X-Wings and space kind of stuff or whatever. But they had this one, saved this one for last as an homage of sorts, or otherwise respecting the roots of things that really enjoyed that they used this story.
If any of these were like meant to be like a retelling of the actual saga, like this was, Anakin and Padme, like he totally like doomed himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving himself up to save her.
By trying to solve this problem.
And there was a line in there too about you should, like a master. This kind of jumped around. I had a little bit of a tough time with it. I need to see it again. Jumped around in timeline, if I recall right. There was like flashbacks and different parts of the scene, just all over the place. But there's like a master telling him somebody else should go in your stead. That you shouldn't go. You're going to be tempted or something like that. That was really a compelling sort of scene of sorts. once you've seen it, because at first I didn't quite
was
get
Mace
what was
Windu.
going on, but once you've seen it and understand it, then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that guy was trying to warn you, and
Yeah.
we've seen this before, but oh man, it is still hard to watch each time it happens, but it is, it's
Yeah, this one,
it's
the
a great
parable
part
is
of Star
pretty
Wars.
clear on this
Yeah.
one.
You don't try to stop your own vision because you'll only end up causing it.
Yeah.
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 It's very Oedipal. It's very much the Oedipus story, which comes into play a lot in the Anakin story, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not really talked about much in Star Wars or whatever, but Anakin's downfall is ultimately boiled down to love, isn't it? That's the thing, and that's kind of what this one, right? That's the thing that leads him to his downfall was is love for Padme, kind of thing, whatever, that makes us guys do crazy things to some extent.
But it's also the love of his son that brings him back.
Right. Yeah, no, beautiful poetry to bring it around, right?
Right.
It's like selfless love, though. Like he was afraid of losing her, and then with Luke, he wanted to protect him. But without like him, it had nothing to do with him. It was just him trying to protect. So yeah, it's good. I like when they throw little story and meanings, and that's the heart of Star Wars for me is getting something out of the story like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, that's probably why the twins doesn't work for us, right? What was the story?
Yeah.
What was the story? Yeah, the storytelling. That was
I
all
agree.
visual eye candy, and like I say, a little kid telling their fun story. But yeah, no, Star Wars is ultimately storytelling, and if you have good story, anything will work visually.
I had this one as my least favorite.
Interesting.
Least.
The
bottom of the list.
The bottom.
I get it. It's kind of slow.
Well, okay. Elaborate, please. To elaborate. Yeah. What this one didn't.
I don't know. The story never really got me. The animation was weird, jumping back and forth. I didn't feel like there was
visions.
I don't know if I was
tough.
just attention by that time, especially after La Pinocho, which was great. But this one did not catch me. I will have to give it a rewatch after listening to some of this to see some of the links. But yeah, it was just. And then using, the dark side we're healing, it's just, I don't know. I just really didn't enjoy this one. It was weird for me. Animation really wasn't my style. Animation always plays a huge role in my decisions. So it was just a really weird style for me. The story really didn't catch me all that much. But I'll give it a rewatch. But I definitely don't see it coming off the bottom of the list. Still enjoyable. The bottom does not mean bad. The bottom just means good, not great.
Is the Village Bride right above it?
Let me check here.
It's interesting too because you're the only one that actually ranked it. Because I don't care about rankings or anything. But
yeah, I don't care about
I was surprised on a technical level. Well, maybe not a technical level, but I was surprised that they ended the series with this one. I don't think that it was a strong one to go out on, and I actually thought, why not end it with The Ninth Jedi as Episode 9? Because there's just some poetry to that.
That would have been.
Oh, that is
and that would have been a stronger one to end on, I think, because it was one of the strongest and most complex stories.
I think maybe if you do it like air per week, like on TV, you probably would have done that. But since this is all on-demand stuff, then
and left you wanting more. Yeah, but they're listed as 1 through 9, and you sort of watch them in order. While it's on demand, you could skip around all you wanted. No, that would have been a genius move.
Let me ask you guys this: like, out of all of them, which one do you think you will not watch again?
The twins.
The twins.
See, and I don't think I would watch the La Pinocho one again.
Interesting. Yeah, I liked that one a lot. I liked it more than I expected to. I would watch that again. Yeah.
That
the
was
Bride
one. Of my favorites. I didn't like the twins pretty much at all. I just basically tuned out about 2 minutes into it. I was like, nope, I don't like it.
I think the one that has like the most rewatchability would probably be the first one and maybe the Ninth Jedi, probably.
That's mine too. Yeah, those are the two that have the most watchability.
I don't know. I'd probably just watch the twins over and over again.
You just want to watch the first one. This is in my notes. You just want to watch the first one because we finally get high heels in Star Wars. The Sith chick comes up out of the ship or whatever, and she's in high heels. And when I'm watching this, and that's like very early in, I'm just like,
I don't understand what the unbuckling of the shoe thing. I got to rewatch that again because I didn't understand why that point was made. Like,
wait, there's somebody unbuckling the shoe?
Yeah, and one of them, I think it was the second, not the second one. I think it was the Bride one, Village Bride. She unbuckles her shoe and then does a sprint. So I'm like, it should be tightening.
It's
the
kind of
shoe.
like buffet and you have to unbuckle your belt. You're making room for
Well,
the
see,
good
and I was
stuff.
thinking like, maybe, like you're gonna get in a fight and you like take your earrings off and your shoes. Maybe I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
Things off and then put on
Yeah,
Vaseline.
Take your shirt off,
Vaseline
leave the
chin.
sunglasses. Take your shirt off, but leave the sunglasses on. What kind?
Yeah. So I don't know, but I found them all pretty great. But yeah, I mean, I probably watch these a couple of times. I started watching the behind the scenes stuff on the extras on there, but I didn't get through them all.
I haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
I haven't
Definitely
seen it
worth it.
Yes. If you enjoyed the episodes, they give a lot of backstory. The creators all talking about it. But yeah, it's if you enjoyed them,
Interesting.
Yeah. There's small little snippets of backstory or whatever, and there's some good info in there. And yeah, I just watched those last night or whatever, and was glad I did because they helped to show some, just like anything with the Star Wars, the behind the scenes and the reverence that the people paid towards it. They're obviously getting fans, and the one guy was like his last hurrah, the last thing he was gonna do, and then he says, unless they ask me to do something else Star Warsy, then I might come back out of retirement, kind of thing. Definitely worth.
Cool.
I got to get through all this. Yeah.
Hey, one last on an out or whatever. One of the behind the scenes things or whatever I posted in there, and I probably shouldn't because it's going to make it hard for me to find this book cheap on the secondary market, whatever. But they talked about how the idea for this came out of a George Lucas book called Visions, where it was a bunch of artists interpreting Star Wars, and they showed a bunch of snippets of various takes and all the things artists did to make prints and art and everything, whatever. That's where they came from, this book or whatever. So I wanted to drop that little nugget to put it out there. If anybody has this book, yay for them. And I probably shouldn't, like I say, it's gonna make it hard for me to come by because I don't have my copy of it yet. But that was a neat little tip in that's in those extras, that this all sort of started from a thing that Lucas did with this based on this book, or somehow this book has some ties to the creation of what we got to witness, which was these 9 episodes that they called Vision. I'm very thankful that they did it because it was nice to have some Star Wars content all on big screen.
Yes, so thanks very much, everybody. Okay, folks.
I'd say it's been a great Senate, y'all. Thank you all for
everybody for coming. And
this has been absolutely great.
To another year of making this, so hopefully that'll be. Thank you.
Everyone stay safe out there.
See you next time. Don't forget to follow us. Find us on Facebook in our Positively Star Wars Facebook group. On Twitter, we're at PSW Senate, and Instagram, PSW Senate Podcast. Or email us with any questions, comments, positively-star-wars-senate@gmail.com. So we're always eager to get feedback from everyone. So, and comments, and anyone just wants to participate. So.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you on the other side.
Bye. See you guys. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff, you guys.
Go switch off.